Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to a slightly delayed episode of Honest Trailer Commentaries, but always on time. We're here to talk about Scream, just Scream 2022
No,
today.
listen, I'm done with this. I'm over it. It's Scream 5. We're calling it Scream 5. It's the fifth. You've got a naming system. It's all established. You can't
For simplicity's sake,
here.
Yeah, we'll call it Scream 5.
That's confusing. There's already a movie called Scream.
A movie that we were lucky enough to cooperate with Paramount Pictures and the lovely voice of Ghostface himself on this one, which is super exciting to work with, which we'll talk more about. Also, we have no deleted scenes for this one because every line has been scrubbed clean for your viewing consumption. And but we will take your questions and tease you with next week's Honest Trailer.
Yeah.
But regarding
the first time out, we got it perfect. First time.
No notes. So I enjoyed this movie. I think more than you, Lon. And interestingly, like I enjoyed it for the same reasons I think you didn't, which is that it's incredibly self-referential and meta and masturbatory and like, into its own mythos and winking at the camera. But to me, that's kind of the core of what Scream is. Whereas when other franchises do it, say Spider-Man, the Matrix, what have you, it seems a little bit out of character, but Scream has always been a movie about movies, so I give it a break or even expect that kind of behavior.
To clarify, I'm not saying I hate Scream being Scream. Of course it's going to be meta, of course it's going to joke about horror movies. We all expect that going in. I just feel like at 5 I'm ready for them to like come up with a really new angle. Every time the Scream sequel goes where you'd sort of expect. Scream 2 is like sequels, right? And then Scream 3 is like trilogies, right? And then Scream 4 is like reboots, right? And then this one is like legacy sequels when you come back after like 10 years, right? And it's like, oh, okay, that's just the most obvious version of it. I want to see them go like do it in space, do one of the ones where the killer gets like magically resurrected by lightning and comes back. Like there's a lot of horror movie stuff to play around with other than how sometimes they do a 7th one?
Like you wanted to be like, oops, all druids this time.
Yeah, like right.
No
like,
Ghostface.
Now Ghostface is a leprechaun in this one. And like, oh, it's a new genre that we're taking on.
Well,
like,
I would say this one wasn't
tired of the same tropes over and over again, I feel like.
This one wasn't so much about legacy sequels to me as it was about fandom and small f fandom. And
that's kind of the twist on it. It's like it is legacy sequels and bringing back characters. And here's, like there is that whole scene where Randy's niece walks you through what happens in part 5s. But yeah, then they do figure out a way to sort of upend it by making it almost more about The Last Jedi in some ways than horror movies.
Yeah, that's the real killer. Danielle, what'd you think?
Yeah, I liked it for a lot of the reasons that you said, like, because it is, I agree, when it's, when it's Ghostbusters or something else where it's just like, here, all of the things you liked the first time, there you go, take it and be happy, put it in your mouth hole. This one for me, because that has always been what Scream is, it didn't bother me as much that it was, but it is, I mean, if you've seen Scream, you've seen one Scream, you've seen all the Screams. So like,
Exactly.
but there was something very, I don't know, it's like putting on a nice warm blanket in this case, because it is, again, they've already were smart enough, genius enough to have baked this concept in so they can just do it over. And they didn't even know that we were going to be doing this, 20 years or 25 years later or whatever. So kudos for them for seeing into the future.
Yeah, the one thing that's kind of the missing secret sauce for me is in this go round, though I did enjoy it otherwise, is Wes Craven. First one he wasn't involved in, and props to the directors. I really loved. They made Ready or Not, right? That was their one they did before this.
Radio Silence
Radio
is
Silence.
what they go by.
Very, very pleasant dudes. Very cool.
Which I thought was fantastic in like a visual and aesthetic and mood sense. Whereas this one, I don't know if it was one of those like the Matrix 4 being like intentionally oversaturated and fake looking, but like the way just like shots were framed and sequences, it seemed very like made for TV, like made for streaming, like a lot of reverse shot. Like there wasn't that kind of cinematic, masterful balance of tension that you get with Wes Craven behind the camera. But maybe that's just most directors, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's on purpose, having seen Ready or Not. Like I feel like this was definitely a choice that was made. Whether or not that works for you, I don't know. But I do feel like this was, you know, I'm probably overthinking it. I probably overthunk it, but part of me was almost like, is this like a way to reference that there was a Scream TV show without like referencing that there was a TV show?
Deep cut. Okay. Well,
That's the old noggin.
Yeah, let's roll this thing, and we'll stop and go as per usual, as is our wont to do. Hit it.
The following trailer is rated S for spoilers. In a world where IP can't RIP for long, Wes Craven's signature franchise will go on without him. For a scarily honest look at the state of the slasher genre, they are really out of ideas by now.
I've seen this movie before. You might actually be the most derivative one of all.
Scream 5, Scream 22, or just Scream again. That works, I guess.
So yeah,
Ghostface
pause.
is back, and
Another big part of the conversation within this movie is like slasher versus elevated horror.
Yes.
And I don't know. It's not like I wouldn't say it's like punching down per se, but it's also like they were taking so many shots at like A24 style horror. And it's like that stuff makes 1/10 of your money and costs 1/100th of your budget. Like, who cares? Is that like a big? I'm not a huge like horror culture person. I imagine that's like a big like, oh, you're either on this side or that side of the horror enjoyment divide, right?
Horror babies were so weird. Like, we just like the thing. And it's, you know, it's just like eating different flavors of cereal. All, you know, there's a flavor of cereal that you like, but you probably like other ones. It's like, you know, liking a burger from this place or from that place, for me at least, and for everyone I know. You do view them as different experiences, but I've never known anyone that's like, I feel like I will say that if you are more of a fan of elevated horror, I do find that they tend to be more of the ones that are looky downy.
Sure.
I don't know if I agree. I think there is that natural tension. I mean, the cinema scores tell the story. When a horror movie comes out that's like an A24 or a Babadook style one, the audience scores are always low because people thought it was going to be a conventional horror movie from the trailer, and then they go see it. They're like, "This is a real movie. They want to make me think. I don't like it." So, like, I get that, but I also agree with what you're saying, Spencer. That I just don't think it's not a real head-to-head competition. It's like there's a niche audience for Ari Aster. Ari Aster may be a bad example. There's a niche audience for like some of these kinds of you know, low budget artistic sort of horror films, and then there's like massively mainstream popular. I don't know. To me, this almost would have been a more interesting pitch for Scream 5. Like, what if it's making fun of Lamb and Midsommar instead?
Oh, they're saving it. You know, they're saving it
next.
Like,
you know,
do
they've
that
got to do
one.
this
Like,
one. They've got to do the legacy one, and then they're going to do those. You know, they're going to do.
That's 5 slasher parodies. Like, there's not. The thing about it is, slasher movies are very simple. There's not really that much to pick apart. It's dumb. Like, that's by its whole. I just feel like it's exhausted at this point. Like, it's time to move on to a different.
Scream
subject.
6 begs to differ. Coming soon.
Oh, I can't.
It
I
has
can't.
been greenlit.
But
I can't wait until they do Us. We're just like
that's
two ghost faces. They both got knives.
You could do they would never like do a Jordan Peele-ish parody Scream movie.
But they would be great if they did.
I mean, if they gave it to me, they could. It would have to be like in the boys or something like that.
It'd have to be Keegan. Keegan's the only person who
Oh my god, that's such a good idea. That's so funny.
And now I want it.
That should exist.
All right, let's keep watching.
Back in Woodsboro, because where else can you kill people in broad daylight and get away with it?
This looks real brazen.
Watch as a high schooler's attack kicks off a high school reunion for that film you watched in high school and ends up being the best Scream since the first one. Because it basically is the first one, slightly updated for a modern audience. One sec. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Plinkett.
Wrong number. It's the Honest Trailer guy.
I guess you'll have to do. Do you like meta movies?
I mean, sure, if they're done well.
What about meta movie promotional tie-ins?
Not interested. All your favorite characters are back.
You'll hear more from him later if you haven't seen the trailer yet. Roger L. Jackson, the voice of Ghostface, absolutely lovely to work with, was down to try whatever, knocked it out of the park. And like voiceover people are like they're like so eager to please. I found that they just like want, and like you can't, it's so fun to direct VO because they, in between takes or like reacting to themselves, they just switch into like a million voices. It's like Robin Williams, like they're just always doing different cartoon characters and stuff like that. And like I know all of John's characters by now already. Like I know he's gonna I know he's gonna give me some Wahlberg. I know he's gonna do Ryan Reynolds, he's gonna do Optimus Prime and stuff like that. But to hear Roger Jackson's all the other voices he has in his pocket was probably a career highlight for me. And I got Kevin in on the session, and he is the absolute Scream fan of all fans. So it's fun to work with him. Super fun.
See, if you hear the outtakes from me doing VO, which is like, is that okay? Do we need another? Is that I can do that 5 more times? I can do that 10 more times. I live here now. I live in this booth.
He's like I feel like he doesn't get his stripes as like he's a horror movie icon at this point, because there's not like one actor who's always Ghostface. It's like a different person in every movie. That's the gimmick. So the only consistent thing, aside from just the look of it, is the voice. Is like that he's in every movie. So I feel like at this point he's entered the pop culture like as much as, you know, Brad Dourif as Chucky or Tobin Bell as Jigsaw. Like he is Ghostface as far as that goes.
Yeah. And I believe he is on Cameo. So hit him up. get that voicemail.
If you want to freak out the people who love scary movies in your life.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Let's keep going.
Unfair quizzes.
But they only had the budget to de-age one of them. There's ex-cop Dewey, who's a broken man after a lifetime of carrying this town's sorry-ass police force on his back.
Who's watching my sister?
The tag team of Sydney and Gail, 2 queens who are so used to this gaping stomach wounds are no big deal anymore.
That's nasty.
Thank you both.
You're good.
For everything.
And of course, the iconic horror villain Ghostface. Oh man, I thought I put that on silent. Do you mind? I'm trying to record here.
Hang up on me again and I'll gut you like an elk.
Don't you mean like a fish?
Fish would have been too predictable. It's called subverting expectations.
All right, look, kid. I'm a little bit busy right now.
Too busy to mention how Scream is available to watch now on Apple TV and other digital retailers?
Of course it's available. That movie came out in '96?
Not old Scream, new Scream.
Oh, you mean 5 Cream.
Is that what passes for a joke around here?
We usually save all the dumb puns for the end.
Still? Ugh. At least Cinema Sins had the decency to call it quits.
Yeah, they're still going on too.
What? Come on.
Look, you've had 5 movies and 3 seasons to deconstruct a genre that wasn't even complex to begin with, okay? So don't lecture us about hanging around too long. Sydney, please do the honors.
I'm bored.
Wait!
Watch these somehow still living legends hand the franchise off to Gen Z, which is cruel since their greatest fear is having to actually talk on the phone.
Yeah, pause. I mean, I'm an elder millennial, and I think that the phone should be reserved for hospitals or prisons. But I have friends who are my age who call me just to be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know. Where do you fall on this divide?
I have people who will FaceTime me and I'm like, well, you FaceTiming, that's an appointment. Like you have to tell me first.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to answer the phone in like my friggin' bonnet and like we're going to just sit there like in my dirty bedroom. But I do, like I have a standing thing with my mom now where it's like, you call me once, you do not try to call me. And then if I don't pick up, call me again, because then I assume someone died.
Yeah, that's fair. The multiple call. And parents are obviously accepted. They're going to use the phone. That to them is like a new tech. Like,
I feel like everyone like me who's like late 30s to early 40s, we're all on this straddling this dividing line where there's like half the people in our life would never pick up the phone to speak into it. Like, what are you talking about? And then, but half the people in our life, we still have to make time like, oh, they're going to call me this Saturday. I better clear out 30 minutes, you know, like, it's definitely like a case by case basis in my life.
Yeah. The only time somebody my age calls me is like, oh, I think I just botched that audition, or like, oh, he broke up with me. But it's never like, you know, because some things you just, and even then, no, because we do it through voice notes now. So that's not even true. Like if you've got like an Apple or something, you're just doing it where you record yourself talk for like 2 minutes.
I don't.
Yeah,
listen
I don't
to
have
people.
anyone that does voice notes.
Nobody does
Oh,
voice
everybody
notes with me.
does the voice notes in my group
Wow.
chats.
Wow.
That was the thing I noticed about the Tinder swindler. Did you guys watch that documentary? He's leaving like 15-minute voice notes. Like, come on, man. Nobody's listening. I would not have gotten Tinder swindled because I would have been like, I'm not listening to all that. That's
I wouldn't have gotten Tinder swindled because I don't give people money.
well, yeah. Can I
Well,
borrow 40
You haven't
grand?
met
Like, no.
this
It's
guy.
true.
The Tinder swindler.
Yeah. My mom does voice to text and it's loud and embarrassing in public. Just- okay, sounds good.
Oh,
I will see you
God.
then. Like,
Not into it.
still, what is it about parents that can still embarrass you so much, even though what they're doing isn't technically like no one's pointing and laughing at like, hey, you have a mom. But like,
Yeah, right. Everybody knows that people have parents, and yet, it's still like, oh, come
yeah,
It's like how they get an iPad and they start using it to take video. It's what are you
yeah. Oh, the iPad. Yeah. Anyways, I love them. They're the reason we're here. Okay, keep playing.
I would make a joke about what my mom.
In a film
You
that
watch it.
understands the only thing scarier than one film dork chasing you with a knife is 5 film dorks subjecting you to their movie opinions.
No connection to the other movies, no legacy characters at all. And if you ask me, this whole franchise goes off the
Some
rails with
people,
number
the
5.
original is their favorite thing in the world. And God help anyone who's slightly with that
Because
special
nobody
memory.
takes the true
Makes them
fans
feel
seriously.
crazy.
They just laugh at us and why?
You know, it's like
Because we
scary,
love
but with
something.
complex emotional and thematic underpinnings. It's not just some schlocky cheeseball
Oh,
nonsense.
make it stop. Like this guy
Pause.
Wes, who's super
Yes, I do have enough self-awareness to realize that that is our job, and yet I still found it so annoying to watch other people do that in a movie. I don't know why. It really was like I couldn't stand to watch it. I guess it's probably like if you're a dentist and then you
Right.
see
Right.
like somebody do dentistry on screen, you're like, oh, you're not doing it right. But
I did laugh when they had that moment where they were like watching the panel of people on YouTube talk about the movies, and I was like,
uh-oh, we're next.
Yeah. This one it definitely hits a little close to home. This one
it was a little painful. It was a little painful.
coming.
I had to get
it's
up and take a
coming
walk.
for us specifically.
It's funny. We're probably going to see that more and more in our lifetimes because I think that kind of a stock character. I mean, most recently, I remember from like Greatest Showman, but in so many films, there's like a critic character that like the writer and director just absolutely shit on and are like get proved wrong and like have the ultimate like failure thrust in their face. It's like, you can't do anything, you piece of shit. So that's probably just going to be YouTube commentators for
Why
the next
couldn't we
generation.
be the critic and we just get John Lovitz?
Yeah. It stinks. We're doing interestingly a little tease for next week. Also features online critics savaging a product. I won't go into greater detail.
Yeah,
but that's becoming the trope for sure.
Yep. Oh well.
We deserve
Okay,
it.
keep going.
who's super knowledgeable about horror movie cliches. Oh, I see what you did there. Tara, who tells you she doesn't watch horror without telling you she doesn't watch horror.
What's your favorite scary movie?
The Babadook.
Mindy, who's basically the new Randy.
As a requel.
Which is
Not quite a reboot, not quite a sequel.
Her twin Chad, who is, well, also the new Randy.
I'm not like entirely sure that you're not the killer.
Actually, most of these new characters are Randy.
Pepper spray? Check. Taser? Check.
Girlfriend repellent? Check.
You know that part in horror movies where you want to yell at the characters to be smart and get the out? This is that part, Richie.
Holy it's Ghostface!
Liv, she's there.
You said I was too boring to be the killer.
New heroine Sam, who inherited her dad's killer instinct, but not his spatial awareness.
You're in
Now pause.
Stu Mocker's house.
I don't think this was like super well pulled off. I think they're going for like a Dexter thing, but like that Billy Loomis was like her motivation and like who she needed to really get in touch with. Like he was a serial murderer and rapist in the first movie, and it's like now he's just like, no, you gotta just do it, go for it. Grind set, motivation 101.
You ever see that
No
Texas Chainsaw, that 3D Texas Chainsaw with Alexandra Daddario, where she finds out that she's Leatherface's cousin, and it's like a redemptive Leatherface story. And then in the end, she like, oh, it's amazing. And then in the end, she throws him a chainsaw and goes, "Do your thing, cuz," and then he massacres a bunch of people with a chainsaw. That's true. That happens. spoilers for like early aughts Texas Chainsaw 3D. Anyway, I felt like they were going for like that kind of a thing. Like, we're gonna bring back Billy Loomis, but he's like cool now and he's gonna help the hero. And it like, I don't know. I agree. It plays a little awkward. I also did not realize they digitally de-aged Skeet Ulrich. I just accepted Skeet Ulrich still looking great.
Yeah, that's a young
He
Skeet.
still does. He still looks pretty great. Like he was.
Yeah,
he was
I mean,
on
I saw him on.
He's not a high schooler. I mean, come on.
Pretty good. No, I thought
You thought
I
that
wrote
was
a joke where it was
pure
like,
Skeet.
why did her memory of her dad age? But I guess it didn't.
It did not. That was a smoothed out Skeet.
Smoothed out Skeet. Yeah.
Yeah, which is the name of my jazz band. All right, keep playing.
House where your dad and Stu killed everyone.
And I didn't even realize that Dad was standing right behind me.
And Amber and Richie. One is the main character's boyfriend. The other is a kook who lives in Stu's house. So you do the math. Oh my gosh, these things are so predictable. Who put a landline in here? Hello? Like I don't know who it is.
I told you not to hang up, trailer boy. Now I'm gonna have to kill you.
Okay, look, Mr. and/or Miss Face, you're a legend and all, but with all due respect, you've been getting your ass kicked by teenagers since the 90s, okay? Not exactly shaking in my robe.
Lucky shot. The floor was wet. I had sweat in my eye holes. Okay, that one was pretty embarrassing. You know, most of these aren't even me, right? I'm a different person in every film. We just all use the same spooky voice modulator.
Okay, well, you do lose a fight to an invalid in this one. Twice.
Yeah, pause. It's embarrassing for Ghostface in this movie to get beat up by somebody who's been like mortally wounded twice. But it's more embarrassing, I think, for wrestling phenom David Arquette to get overpowered by what we can confirm now is a teenage girl.
A 5'2"
teenage girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Power,
know
the power.
Dewey's kind of gone a little soft, but wow.
She stabs him in the back and then almost lifts him off the ground. She does have a lot of upper arm strength, that girl.
Look, she does not skip arm day.
No, can't skip arm day.
Yeah, she's doing great.
Yeah, poor Dewey. I mean, I don't know.
I think that's maybe the best part of the whole movie, because they got me. Like, I really did think that he was going to be safe and that they weren't going to kill any of the legacy characters. And I think that's probably the best thing they pull off in the entire film.
Well, the real legacy requel thing that this like maps to 1-to-1 is Force Awakens. With the divorced guy. He's the Han, you know. Yeah. But then, and I also maybe a missed opportunity, or just like, I don't know, didn't quite connect thematically, that the killer's motivation didn't have anything to do with like legacy or bloodline or the thing they were riffing on. It was just like two fans who kind of like put two and two together because her mom was the town drunk or something like that. I don't know. I expected there to be like, oh, I'm Stu's cousin and I'm Leatherface's cousin. Get him, cuz.
Do your thing, cuz.
I can't believe that.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I can't believe finding out that someone is your cousin is like a life-changing event. Like, sure, father, brother.
Yeah. Well, it's like very Spaceballs.
It's like she was like part of that Sawyer family and then got adopted away when she was a baby and never knew it. And so it's like, you know, that the whole town is evil and that family was actually sort of like just misunderstood cannibals. I don't know. You know.
Do your thing, cuz. All right.
It's a crazy movie, that Texas Chainsaw 3D. I recommend it if you're a connoisseur of sequels.
Keep going. Let's keep going.
I'm not one of those brute strength slashers anyway. I'm more into clever misdirection.
Let me guess, you're gonna lure me out of this booth by putting my friends in danger, then pop out and stab me. Haha, joke's on you. I don't have any friends.
Well, that's depressing.
Yeah, you're telling me. I just sit at home and get worked up over these big movies, hoping they'll be good enough to make me forget how alone I feel. But they always fall short. Everybody else seems to love them for some reason. So, fine. Go ahead. Cut me open already.
Hey, I get where you're coming from. The whole murder thing is just my way of inspiring better content out of Hollywood, you know?
The actual motivation.
We're not so different, you and I. You kill with knives, and I kill with the semi-occasional decent joke.
Should we team up for the outro?
Hell yeah, brother. Third act twist. So now that every big sequel or reboot is a self-referential circle jerk of fan service.
Return to the original franchise to do just that.
Because I love Scream.
You love Scream.
We all scream
For 5 cream.
Did we just become best friends?
Yep.
Starring Nev or Better.
The morning show.
Do we or do not? There is no try.
He's just a skeeter boy.
The starting girl.
In the frights.
The boy's friends.
The girl who repeatedly played with fire.
Weird way to
The
get
Jamie
typecast.
Kennedy descendant.
Yeah.
And how come nobody wants to talk about my actual favorite genre? Young adult book adaptations. There's more than one way to kill a teenager, you know.
Ghostface Jam. A new legacy.
Available now on digital, April 5th on Blu-ray.
You know who really sucks? Sam and Tara's mom. Both your daughters get attacked multiple times, and you can't come home from a work conference?
Yeah, who's the real monster here?
Yeah, still you.
Yeah, that was wild that like they just dropped that. They call her mom, and they're like, she's been attacked, she's in the hospital, and she's like, I'm busy.
Listen, they got a lot of these events. I got a lot of panels to go to today, you know.
That's like if you're that
estranged,
estranged,
I really should show my face at.
yeah. If you're that estranged, you don't even call. Like
Right.
that's just wow, bad, legendary bad mom.
Also, look at that. We actually got permission to use those things. We didn't pull a Will Smith trying to use Nightmare on Elm Street and not being able to get
What did
permission.
Will Smith do?
Oh, do you don't remember? He did a like a parody of like it was a nightmare on my street, and like they did a music video for it, and they had to put this disclaimer that was like, we do not own this, like this is New Lines. It's this huge disclaimer. And then they couldn't have it the guy look like Freddy, even though it was supposed to be Freddy, and they call him Fred several times in there. I'll show it to you. It's like this,
Okay.
yeah, like it's got like these weird like fingers that are like guitar strings, and it was cool. But just like that ending credit was like, yes, yeah.
Well, there's this. I know there's this crazy rights thing with Wes Craven's family and Nightmare on Elm Street. In fact, that's one of the fan questions. And they're having. We should have Eric on to walk us through this. But there's a reason why this hasn't been rebooted yet, because you know that Paramount would love to get back in the Freddy business. So we'll just hop to a fan
Wait,
question.
it would be New Line, right? New Line.
Maybe New Line. Yeah.
Yeah. New Line
Well,
would be the Freddy.
I think the
the
fan,
Freddy.
like it's the rights have either reverted or stayed with the Wes Craven estate.
Right.
So like they need to find a studio
Yes.
to work with at this point.
I believe that is correct. That it was New Line was the studio, but now it's the whatever the Wes Craven estate.
Yeah. So since we don't have any deleted scenes, let's go to fan questions. Evan J. Pretzer asks, it's been reported Wes Craven's family now owns Nightmare on Elm Street. What would you pitch to them to relaunch the series? So Craven Estate. Hi. Hey Sharks. I've got a new idea for Nightmare on Elm Street. Any
does
ideas
Mark
to bring
Cuban
back Freddy?
control the Wes Craven estate? Mr. Wonderful.
They're all. I imagine every pitch meeting is like Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So
Serpent in the Rainbow. That do anything for you guys?
yeah.
Well, because they've already did the super self-referential one as
Yeah.
well. Like they did that like 15 years ago or something like that, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, and I just want Alice back. That's all I
Okay.
ask for. I just want Alice back.
You're bringing back Alice. Okay.
I mean, I think that like we can. The cool thing about now, as opposed to when they were making those films, is like we can actually make dream worlds, and like back then they were limited by like what you could make practically, and it was like, you know, like those movies are great and the practical effects are awesome. But I'm saying like that's a thing that you could bring like a modern look to, is like the whole movie set in the dream world, and it's like more elaborately designed, and you could use like modern design elements to give it like a really otherworldly kind of vibe. Like that's where I'd go with it. So the very, very little in the real Elm Street world, and like make it more in the dream space.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, you could just do like a anthology series and hand it off to a bunch of like big
Freddy's Nightmares, a new Freddy's Nightmares.
Done. Yeah, there you go. Sold. All right. Let's see. Bert Pesci asks, awesome job nabbing Ghostface for the 5 Cream Mars trailer. Have you ever reached out to Mr. Plinkett on a collaboration? We have in the past.
Not Red Letter Media, Mr. Plinkett specific.
Mr. Plinkett. We have reached out to Red Letter Media, and props to them because they're just so just open and honestly themselves, and they're like, sure, come to Milwaukee and like we'll shoot something. Like they just have no interest in like leaving their thing and their setup, and that's great. And we're also not going to go to the Midwest for a YouTube video. But we are. There's a lot of love for all. I watch everything.
Yeah,
I make.
I'd be happy to go out there, but Fandom refuses to pay for first class tickets.
Yeah.
So.
And the Nerd Crew, bravo. I mean, I wish they would just make Nerd Crew a regular, a regular installment. I don't think it's got. I think you could keep doing that forever. But
if we can keep doing this, they can keep doing that.
Yeah, exactly. I clapped when I saw the Nerd Crew. I clapped. Let's see. Warrior Fella asks, which franchise do you think needs an overdue sequel that will make it better than it currently is? What's a dead franchise that we could revive? Horror, I guess, or otherwise.
Horror.
It's kind of petered out.
Yeah.
There isn't such a. I don't think there is a dead franchise anymore.
Well, they're working on. It's coming back already, but one that I'm excited to get revived again is Hellraiser. I've been that's been kind of lost in the woods of direct-to-video kind of stuff for a while, and I'm glad that it's going to come back to the forefront.
There was a good, and I'm loath to even put myself in this fandom, but there's a really good Rick and Morty Hellraiser episode this season.
Yes.
That was where they get off on how cringe Jerry is.
Right. But it's really like it plays around a lot with that, like how would that work? Like the teleology of when you love awful things. Like, well, wait, that isn't like it in Rick and Morty.
Hey, you know what I love? Shrek. Let's bring back Shrek. I think his time has come. Maybe Austin Powers. Has Mike Myers alienated everyone he ever worked with, or can he come back?
Austin Powers is one of those things that I feel like every few years there's like talk, and then he just did Dr. Evil for like a Super Bowl ad or something, right?
So, yeah, for something other than a Super Bowl ad, I would love.
That could
I
happen.
would love that. Or some more hangovers. I feel like we haven't really plumbed the depths of what could happen when those four guys hang out together.
I would love to see a Grease 3.
Ooh,
I don't know if it would be good, but it would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Speaking of Paramount, our friends and collaborators from the Scream trailer, they've got Rise of the Pink Ladies coming to Paramount Plus.
Are you serious?
Prequel. Yeah, the Grease prequel series set 4 years before the musical Grease, and it's about the
4 years, because that's like, does it take place in the 30s? Like, how far back are we
4 years earlier, and it's about the origin of the Pink Ladies.
Which one of them do you think they're going to make black?
It's like the Kingsman, but for Grease.
They're gonna make one of them black. Like they're going to.
But it'll be a 50s period piece, and yet they'll like never deal with it. So nobody's happy. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Benjamin Abramowitz says, you've been doing a lot of recent movies of late. Can you bring back Blockbuster Summer? It's just 2 months away. Yes. I don't know if we'll call it Blockbuster Summer, but the movie schedule has a natural ebb and flow to it, and there's we're like lagging behind movie releases. So like we're getting to all the like December, January stuff, but nobody puts out anything worth watching in like March, April. So except for the Batman.
Batman.
Yeah. So we're about to get to a point where it's like, well, we gotta go. We have to go back. The issue is that we've been doing this for long enough that like we've run out of popular movies to cover. Like there's probably like a dozen like legitimate hit movies from like the 80s or 90s that we haven't done, and everything else like there's not a trailer for it. So if you can think of maybe we'll do the George Lucas special editions of some old ones. But I think that we're getting into like, okay, Spencer's favorite 80s movie is Over the Top. We're doing Over the Top.
I mean, at this point, we've done Money Plane, so anything's on the
Well, we could not do Money Plane long. Come on.
There's no...
You had to catch that lightning in a bottle.
There's no more rules. So what's Money Plane is out there,
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw 3D can't be far behind.
Get him, cuz. So,
do your thing, cuz.
Oh, Scott. Okay, I'll get it right. So yes, Benjamin, whatever you would like to see, let us know, and I'm sure we'll get to it eventually. But there's Mibbit Maker writes, The Office is long overdue. I agree. The Office is overdue. And I should have been taking notes because I did rewatch the whole thing like at the beginning of the pandemic. But that's also difficult because it's a really good show and there's 9 seasons and we have to do one of these every week. But maybe we'll send Dan on a special assignment for The Office or something like that.
Throw Dan at that.
Throw Dan a bone. So there you go. All right. Well, this was fun. Thanks again to Paramount and Roger Jackson for blessing us with his vocals on the track. Roger Jackson on the track. And thank you, Lon. And I was going to call you Ryan because that's your Zoom name, Danielle.
I know.
you're Danielle.
Thanks to Ryan O'Toole.
You know, you can change that.
I do, but I'd have to change it every time. And I just haven't.
Okay. So yes, thank you to you guys and everyone in the chat. And we'll see you next week. Where what was your clue, Lon? Just say it again.
It was like it's another movie where there's commentators from the internet talking about what's going on in the movie.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And then we've got some other fun ones coming after that. So yeah, we got a nice little stretch, and then it's all over the top in Gymkhana for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Gymkhana's fun.
Is this when we finally get to Last Dragon?
Finally, yes.
Dead Fred, the long-awaited Honest
Freddy got fingered on his trailer.
Tom Reed would help us out with that one. Tom Reed would jump in.
What about Glenn? Can we get Glenn Humperdinck?
Hollywood Glenn, Hollywood Humperdinck.
All right, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.